What's going on, motorsports fans? This is Jared here with the Bearded Garagistas. Always with me is my brother Brett.
How you doing? You didn't hit the music before you went.
No, we do the intro first and then we do the music. We changed it up. We got the new console. It's going to be brand new.
Ooh,
yeah,
fancy.
see? Fancy schmancy. We're going to talk about the Busch Clash. We're going to talk about the second duel that should have probably been yellow flagged at the end and not let finish because chaos. And we're going to talk about the Daytona 500. That was nuts, that I fell asleep, but I watched it the next day, so don't worry about it. We'll be right back. All right, let's start off with the Busch Clash, all right? And I took some sporadic notes on the Busch Clash and the duels and all this other garbage because it was just chaos, man. The whole weekend was chaos. The Busch Clash was chaos. It was like 2 weeks
Loved it. I freaking loved it.
2 weeks of chaos. I'm not going to lie to you. What a hell of a way to kick off the NASCAR season. If you're a NASCAR fan, just welcome to the just nuts. Now, first thing I got to say, I got to go after the horrible graffitied B-rolled walls. All right, the driver intros where they're like walking around and like there's these like graffiti on the walls and they're trying to act all cool and like he's walking away from the camera and like slowly turns around and looks at the camera. What the fuck is that shit? Get out of here with that garbage. Like, dude, cross your arms, stand there, look into the camera like a man, nod your head like, yeah, I'm coming after you, and that's it. None of this slow walk away, turn around, look it over your shoulder, give me a little wink, baby. No, come on now. Ridiculousness. These grown-ass men driving around at 200 miles an hour and we're doing some garbage like that. So, now that I got your attention, I got to talk about Truex. All right? The reason why I got to talk about Truex is he was his own worst enemy all night. The dude drove his ass off, not going to lie. Starts in the back of the pack, drives that bad boy all the way to the front, right? He gets all the way to the front, and then I believe he missed the chicane, and he had to go all the way to the back.
Yeah.
Dude, how do you do that? And he missed the chicane on a yellow flag.
Yeah, I mean...
Bruh.
Yeah.
On a yellow
We're not
flag.
exactly talking about an inexperienced guy here.
No, man. You know what he said? He goes, I was paying attention to the flags, to something else, and my rear view, and I completely missed the chicane. So misses the chicane, has to restart in the back. When I saw that, I was like, damn, that sucks. I wonder if he can make the run all the way back up to the front. Little do I know, a couple laps later, Truex Jr. is in the fucking lead of this bad boy. And I'm like, holy shit, he's driving the wheels off this.
Yeah.
And he crashes. In the lead, puts himself into the wall.
Bad, man.
Couldn't believe it. I was shocked, but I mean, he raced a hell of a race. You knew he had a fast car. He was driving really well. I think the biggest part of the Busch Clash, especially from what all the drivers had, was the dirt on the windshield from the bus stop chicane.
Even before that, like, you could tell like these guys were not really used to this kind of racing because how many times right after a yellow and they're coming into the first turn and the leader just can't stop, right?
Well, I also think
that was hysterical.
I also think it was part of a layoff. It was the first race back. They didn't really have much practice to get going. I think that this was knocking off a little bit of cobwebs. That being said,
the image of it was funny. All right, yeah, keep going.
That being said, if you watch the dirt on these guys' winch, it literally looked like they were going off-roading, and they would cut the chicane. They were cutting the bus stop chicane way too much to the right, way too much to the left. And don't get me wrong, there were no track limits.
No, and
so they could have done it.
Series,
it was legal.
Other series have done exactly the same thing.
I'm pretty sure the Daytona racetrack, the Speedway, probably is a little upset because they have to literally put more dirt in there every time because they're I mean, these cars are digging a hole.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to it's these style of cars and how they're hitting that grassy area. Because like I said, other cars are going over the grass there. Usually they don't, especially the sports cars. They may be a little different type of tire, maybe a little bit more fragile. And these guys were cutting the corner a little bit heavier than that. But I think it's just the style of car. Man, was it kicking up dirt. It was insane. It was kicking up a lot of dirt. It was just racing in the mud.
So let's talk about this. Now,
maybe they were getting ready for that dirt race later in the year.
There you go. Blaney he drew. All right, so the way they figured out who was going to start the Busch Clash first was they picked, all right, short straws, I guess, I don't know. They got the balls. They got the balls and the little rolling thing like bingo,
like
and
bingo?
they roll it around and like, And then Blaney was like, bingo. his cowboy hat comes flying off and shit. He runs up there with little cowboy boots on. Yeah, bingo. So Blaney starts on the first row, and then he's probably kicking himself after turn one because he overcooks that bad boy. And he wasn't the only one.
Nope.
There's a couple of people who on the restart did it. Overcooked it to turn one, gave up like 6 positions. I was like, ooh, that hurt. But turns out that he had a fast car. He stuck with it, and he almost won this bad boy. Pretty much what happens is
Probably should have won the bad boy.
All right. We have a difference of opinion, and we will go ahead and go over this in a minute. God damn it. Let me get to it. Blaney's coming into the bus stop. Elliott's coming in with him. It's on the last lap. And Blaney cuts under the bottom side of... Elliott cuts under the bottom side of Blaney. What he was trying to do was trying to squeeze his car in there, maybe push Blaney a little bit wide, so they can go door to door coming out of the chicane and up around the banking. Blaney attempts to, it looks like he just attempts to close the door, even though Elliott was already kind of there. Should Elliott have gone for the move? That's a question. Should Blaney have given him a little bit more space? That's a question. Brett has an opinion about this, and I will let him express his opinion.
So, these two guys are really good friends. Okay, so it's not like they're out there doing the dirty, to each other just because they hate each other's guts, right? They even exchanged lids at one point. Here's my take on it. What it comes down to is Europe, and it drives me nuts, is too happy to give out penalties. They do it nonstop, particularly in favor of guys going around the outside. Drives me crazy. Whereas NASCAR and IndyCar, to an extent, more NASCAR, is like, fuck it. Just let them do whatever they want to do.
Unless they go below the yellow line.
Right. So that's what pisses me off is Europe is too slap happy with penalties, and NASCAR probably isn't giving out enough because part of it is just the image of NASCAR is, hey, we're going to let you, Rubbin's Racing, we're going to let you do whatever the hell you want. But because of that, the drivers going in on the last lap know that they can pull some shenanigans, and if it works out and they win the race, they're not going to be penalized and lose the win. Right? That's the biggest thing. If he would have knocked Blaney out of the way and gone on to win, NASCAR's not going to step back and go, no. You knocked them out of the way. You can't do that. You lost the race. Bullshit. That's not what NASCAR's going to do. NASCAR's going to go, hey, good job. And that drives me nuts. It makes
for exciting racing.
But listen, I'm the last one to want penalties. However, when you don't use them, the drivers are going to abuse it. Look at freaking track limits in Formula One. You let these guys get an inch, and they're going to want 10 inches. All right, that's just how it goes. These drivers are going to push.
Unless it's IndyCar at COTA, then they're talking about like 20 feet.
Yeah, let's not go there. That was a mistake. But they're drivers. They're going to push it to the limit. If you're going to show them that you're not going to penalize them, they're going to go ham.
And I'm okay with it though. I thought Elliott went for a spot that wasn't there, and I thought Blaney closed the door when he shouldn't have. I thought it was a racing incident. I agree with the call, racing incident. It ended up taking them both out of the race. And what happened?
Worst thing possible. This is my biggest
The worst thing that could have happened.
My biggest peeve with this incident. Those two guys can go out as much as they want, but their actions led to this man winning.
Kyle Busch wins. And I guess Brett doesn't like Kyle Busch. I'm not a Kyle Busch fan either. But yeah, Kyle Busch in the M&M's car, number 18, he goes and takes the win. Yeah.
What a way to open the season.
I think my biggest gripe was Hamlin pitting from first place. Now, there's a catch-22 in this, all right? He was in first place, obviously. That's why I said Hamlin pitting from first place. Come on, Jared, here we go. He was in first place, and if he doesn't pit, he has worse tires. Everyone behind him may pit, and then he's caught out. If he does pit, he ends up and nobody behind him pits, you better hope that you got the momentum and the speed and with restrictor plate racing. And this isn't really restrictor plate because it's a road course. man, it was just so tough. And
I think he went the wrong way because, I mean,
obviously went the wrong way because he didn't fucking win.
Usually in that situation, as the leader, that's the risk that you have to take.
Yeah, I think I would have taken the risk in that way because there wasn't enough laps left to move back to the front.
I don't know, but I'm super excited for all the road courses in NASCAR this year. I really am.
For sure. Let's move on to the second duel that was a little hairy. On the last lap, I think that whole thing was I don't understand what NASCAR was looking at because that should have been stopped. If you watch the replay of the last lap of the second duel, there's a car below the yellow line. I believe it was Truex, I want to say, goes to try to make a pass, sees the car, backs off. It ends up costing him a couple of places because everybody's momentum blows right by him. But if he would have really put anything below that yellow line, he would have clipped that car, which was probably doing about 40 miles an hour. He would have clipped that car at 200 miles an hour. That would have been devastating, like next level devastating. That has ramifications that is just on another level. And they let that shit go. I could not believe it. I almost fell off my couch. They let it go. I think that and this goes to what Brett says about penalties and stuff like that. You have to also think about safety. And I understand that nowadays we put a lot of emphasis on safety and we put into these, these restrictions and rules and penalties in place. But in that scenario, you can't let a car be doing 40 miles an hour on the last lap. With cars jockeying for position, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take safety into account. I mean, the show's the show, but I think that what Ryan Newman's incident last year showed, what Grosjean's incident showed, is it's in the end, it's about safety because nobody wants to watch something that may lead to the unmentionable. You know what I mean? Like, we want to be entertained, but we don't want that to be the ultimate cost. Right? We want entertainment with safety.
Well said. Well said. Let's get to the Xfinity race. Now, I don't know if anybody told the Xfinity drivers, but it costs money to put the infield together at Daytona. And they were tearing it up. Did you watch the Xfinity race or any of the highlights of it?
Sadly, I did not.
Bro, I don't know what it was.
I heard about it, though. Don't get me wrong.
They have a lot of experienced drivers, not too many young guys. Don't get me wrong. They got young guys, too, but literally just smashing, wrecking each other, driving across the Daytona symbol, like just tearing up the infield. And maybe I got a soft spot because I got somebody in my family who used to do grounds crew, and I know how hard they work on that green grass just to make it look just right, especially in the state of Florida, how much crabgrass and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, they tore it up. And then they had to replace most of it because they have, you got Daytona coming out, and like each race you have to replace that grass. Bro, I just felt so bad for the grounds crew. And then it started raining, and with all the rain we had last weekend, and then the cars getting stuck, and it was just horrible. Did you catch the truck slide off of the
Yeah, I saw that. How crazy.
The truck, they had the jet truck drying off the track, actually slid off the embankment and back down into the flat part below the yellow line and snapped it was horrible. All right. Let's get into the Daytona 500, shall we? Right off the bat, they're talking about how it's going to get weather. The weather's going to be bad. It's probably going to rain. And when that happens, what's the result? What's the word I'm looking for? They go ahead and they probably push. All right. You get halfway through with a NASCAR race. And if they red flag it due to weather, that's when they call it, and they'll throw the checkered flag. If it's before halfway, they go ahead and they either delay it, postpone it, wait for everything to dry off, and go again the next day. So that was already in the air. Everyone was pushing right off the bat, and pretty much, what was it, in 3?
So, I mean, what I noticed was, as is tradition, lap 3, everybody's holding up the 3 fingers for Dale Earnhardt, right? That's become the tradition.
Fair enough. That's tradition.
And what was ironic to me was right at the end of lap 3, you just have this massive wreck. Massive.
But that wreck was, I feel like it was like a warning to what was coming, because that wreck, the way it was caused, was
Kyle Busch
taking a run, pushing his teammate a little bit too hard, putting his teammate into the back of oh man, was it Elliott?
I'm
Almirola. That's it. Almirola. I have a horrible memory.
That's what I'm here for.
Kyle Busch pushed his own teammate, which I think was Bell, into Almirola, turned Almirola, and wrecked like 12 cars.
16 cars were involved in that, man.
16 cars wrecked in the first couple of minutes. And then during the yellow flag, it starts to pour. Everybody climbed out of the car and everybody looked fine, but it was pouring. And you know what's funny is it poured for like 2-3 hours. And I was like, this is done. They're not going to do this.
What they said, the announcer said when they said that they actually recorded a "See You Tomorrow" piece.
Yeah, and I went home. I pretty much was going to go to sleep. I was just hanging out with the family, and then I was like, oh man, let me just check, make sure. Let's see if they're still racing. Boom, they started racing again. So I throw it back on, and unfortunately, because it started so late again, I'm an old man and I passed out.
So here's my thing, and I even I retweeted somebody's comment. I think that NASCAR was weighing up, do we push this to Monday and then possibly lose all the Sunday viewers? Or do we postpone it really late and,
aren't they back in Daytona this Sunday?
Yeah.
So why didn't they just push it to Monday, knowing that all the teams didn't have to travel?
I honestly think they should have. I think that it would have been more entertaining had they just pushed it to tonight, because we're recording it on the 15th. I think too much money was invested in it being Sunday night. They wanted Daytona Sunday night. I think that you have more people, possibly a bigger pool of people potentially watching on a Sunday night than on a Monday night. But starting that race back up with only 16 laps down at 9:30 at night. I know they were shooting for a 9 o'clock restart time, but after, they're out, the cars are going, they're still heating up the track. It's now 9:30 for a restart, and you got well over 2/3 of the race to go. Yeah, I think they should have pushed it to Monday.
So when they did start back up again, the first thing that was really evident, really in your face, which was really surprising to me, because normally this isn't the case, the Toyotas were fast.
Holy moly, were they fast.
And they were working together. They were really working together.
Before we get to Toyotas being fast,
okay,
who in a really fast car dropped all the way to the back because may have had a feeling that something was going to go down early in that race?
Probably Hamlin.
Yeah, your boy Hamlin ends up,
he does it all the
around
time.
And he's in last place. And everybody's like, why is he in last place? Strategy. It's got to be strategy. Boom, massive wreck. 16 people out. 6 hours later, they go to restart the race. Toyotas are amazingly fast. And who's up at the front?
Hamlin. I'm telling you, bro, the guy does it almost every race. He knows he can work his way back up to the front because he's that good of a race car driver. He's that good of a car, and he does it every race. And I think it's a hell of a strategy.
I think someone was joking that he just dropped back all that way to keep an eye on Bubba to make sure that his employee was doing a good job, because Bubba had to start all the way in the back. Why? You know why Bubba was in the back?
Yeah, because he
failed inspection twice.
to the point where they sent his crew chief off. They told the crew chief they couldn't be there, and they failed inspection twice and had to start at the back. What was really funny is if you watch the interview before with Strahan, Hamlin, Jordan, and Bubba Wallace, Michael Jordan is 100%. He said flat out, we would not have hired Bubba Wallace if we didn't think that he could win multiple races this year.
And fully expects him to win at least 2.
And Strahan turns around and looks at Hamlin and says, well, if he's vying you for position for a win at Daytona and you're going for the 3-peat, what's going to happen? Hamlin goes, there might be a little contact.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if he's a team owner. He'll put your ass on the wall for a 3-peat. So, I mean, that's that competitive nature, but that's pretty funny. But yeah, those Toyotas were really fast. I reveled when they had Kyle Busch come on the radio and he was like, why do we suck? What did he say?
Why do we always
suck at restrictor plate racing? Yep. It was the greatest thing I ever heard.
So funny. And then the announcers had to come on and go, yes, we know it's not technically restrictor plate racing, but they refer to the speedways. I'm like, oh my goodness, shut up.
Yeah, it was funny. You know what I really love? I love Boyer. on
my
in the
goodness.
announcer box. And it was funny after the Busch Clash, he actually went on his Twitter account. He was like, "Hey, I'm sorry to everybody because I know I sucked. I stepped over Dale Jr. and this, that, and the third. I don't care. I don't think not one time in the pre-race show did he look at the right camera, and I don't give zero fucks because it was still awesome. He's hilarious.
So funny.
He doesn't care. He says whatever the hell he wants, and he really meshes well.
Chemistry with Jeff Gordon is so good.
It's perfect.
It's so
perfect.
good.
Yeah, not Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I know
It was Jeff
what you
Gordon.
meant.
Yeah, you know what I meant. But it was perfect.
Yeah. So I mean, the Toyotas being fast, they dominated stage one. Hamlin takes stage one. Like my brother, I don't know what time you fell asleep, but I ended up passing out.
Bro, I was snoring right after stage one. I didn't make it to the end of stage two.
I watched a little bit of stage two and then fell asleep. And then I woke up to take care of the babies right after stage two. I turn it on and I'm like, holy shit, no way. Hamlin won stage two. And you know why that bothered me?
Why'd that bother you?
Because let me ask you, how many times do you know of drivers winning all three stages?
It's rare.
It's incredibly rare. You want to know how rare it really is?
Can I read your note?
No, you little cheat. Now,
you're the one who put the note in. I want to read it.
Yeah, but I got the percentages off the top of my head. You don't.
Oh, shit. Go ahead.
Oh, man. So this has been a thought of mine for a long time. I have never... I have never seen a drive. Now, I don't watch NASCAR all the time, but still, I've never seen a driver win all three stages. Okay. Now, so I did a little research because that piqued my interest. You're a driver who's going for a three-peat. You wanna be the first driver to have 3 wins in a row at Daytona 500, and you're known as being a strategy guy. Right?
So what are you going to tell? You're going to sit here and tell me that
Hamlin is known to be a strategy guy.
He's got to play the ratio to win the game?
Yes.
No, come on.
Because listen to me. Listen. They put the stages in effect in 2017. There are 36 races a year. That comes out to 144 races from 2017 to the end of 2020. Okay? Because this is the first race of 2021.
I'm listening.
All right. There have only been 17 winners that have won all three stages. Most of that is Truex Jr. at 5, Harvick with 5. Hamlin only has 2, and both of those came in 2020, so maybe that was on his mind. But that's a 12% chance of winning all three stages. That's nothing. When you're trying to go out there,
if you're given the win to win the stage, you win the stage. You play to win the game.
This is a guy. No, because this is a guy who will drop all the way back in the beginning of the race, knowing that he has a better chance of moving forward. I wholeheartedly believe that Hamlin had a better chance of winning that race had he slacked off a little bit in the second stage.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Play the odds.
With the way
get in the right position,
this guy,
then do your job in stage 3.
The way the bump draft was and how strong the bump draft was going, how much these guys were bumping each other is what happened at the end. Hamlin finished 5th. Don't get me wrong. I think he was in 11th on the last lap before the chaos happened. Well, I'll tell you what happened with me. I fell asleep. I woke up and I was scrolling through Twitter while I'm feeding the baby at I don't know what hour of the morning, and I see the big fireball picture. And I was like, holy shit, I got to find out what the hell happened. Turns out, can we get into that? Are you good with venting about that? Because I mean, we can wrap back in.
17 out of 144.
So what happened with what I saw was, and you saw it differently than me. All right. I saw McDowell's in 3rd, Keselowski's in 2nd, which is probably his best chance of winning the Daytona 500, and Logano's in 1st. We all know what's going to happen. Logano is not going to give up that first place easy, nor should he. I can't say that. I mean, I don't like Logano, but I don't expect him to just give up the position. But what I saw was there was a big run that happened way behind McDowell. McDowell then bumps Keselowski, and Keselowski moves to the bottom side of the track to try to possibly go too wide with Logano. Logano is trying to, at the same time, stay in front of Keselowski, try to use the bump, and keep Keselowski behind him. The problem with that is Keselowski got such a good bump that he moved, and when he moved, Logano was already not quick enough and turned when he went to go low. Keselowski ends up turning him around. As a result of that, chaos ensues. Keselowski's car just blows up and just huge, massive fireball. It was gnarly. McDowell makes it through. Elliott made it through. Dillon made it through. Harvick made it through. And Hamlin made it through. I feel like those were the big names, and that's who finished. It finished McDowell 1, Elliott 2, Dillon 3, Harvick 4, Hamlin 5. Now, am I disappointed that Hamlin didn't three-peat and become the first NASCAR racer to do so? Yeah, I'm heavily disappointed. I'm really pissed off. I really wish it was some way different. I really wish that he would have done that, because it's just, more icing on the cake for him to go straight to the Hall, which I'm pretty sure he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know how they do that in NASCAR, but it is what it is. You always feel like Harvick is always going to be up there at the end of the race. He's a wily old cat, and he's going to know how to do that. What was really crazy is, though, McDowell has never won a race. McDowell has been in the sport for 12 years, 14 years?
Something like that.
I think it was like 12 or 14 years. I want to go with 14 because it sounds a lot better. But he was in the sport for 14 years and has never won a race. Now, he's been to the front a couple of times. He's got a couple of top 5s, I believe. He's got a few top 10s. And the drivers all said that eventually he was going to come for him because he's just always in the right place at the right time. This was his time. And
hell of a time, Daytona.
Hell of a time. And what's really funny is right before he jumps out of the car to do his little celebration, he announces like he's a real religious man, believes in Christ. Right? He jumps out the car. He's got the cross on the back of his helmet, and he's like freaking out. And you could just tell the first thing out of his mouth was, "Gotta thank God." It was great. And it's really funny to watch because he has this like really calm demeanor, and he's like thanking his car and the sponsors.
And he just starts
and
yelling.
And then he starts screaming. He's like, "And what about Daytona?" It was great. But to see that excitement, don't get me wrong. When drivers get out of the car in NASCAR, they have that excitement now. But to watch somebody who has been working hard for something for 14 years, who was definitely an underdog in this race, come out on top, you could just see that that was a different level of excitement.
Yeah, and I like the excitement. I like seeing that. I like close racing. What I don't like is I'm going to push you the fuck out of my way so that I win this race.
Oh my God.
I'm conflicted on this because I hate the arrow wash where you can't even get close, but I'm also not a fan of there's no repercussions if I literally push you out of my way.
Because they also have the most aggressive blocking, if you ever noticed.
Which, Logano needs to go back and watch this race and watch Hamlin from the front, because if there's any driver in the field that's going to show you how to block from the front, oh my goodness, Hamlin put on a showcase all freaking night.
He did. For especially stage 1. That hit stage 1 blocking was phenomenal. He wasn't malicious in any way. He never cut it too close. He always had perfect timing.
Master at picking the right lane.
But the thing is this, it also wasn't the end of the race when people are really going to push. And I just feel like with the most aggressive blocking in all of motorsports, in my opinion, what comes is bump drafting and wrecks.
Between V8 excluding V8 supercars down in Australia, these cars get the closest than any other series. I mean, British touring cars maybe. I mean, it's that kind of car where you can go at it, right? And there's something to it. It's entertaining. I just feel a little, I don't know. I don't feel like...
I'm more pissed off with the competition cautions and the stages.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, I'm not saying this is the biggest thing wrong with NASCAR. Don't like blow it out of proportion. I just wish McDowell could have won that heads up instead of people getting shoved out of his way into a big, huge fireball.
Hey, man. I'm happy
he won. Don't get me wrong.
I'm happy for McDowell. I'm upset that Hamlin couldn't pull it out. Bubba Wallace, if you want to know, 2311 Racing looked strong all night.
Oh my goodness.
Made a couple of rough decisions with him and his spotter on positions where he should have been.
Yeah, but
he looked very strong. I do believe in what Michael Jordan said. I believe he will get 1, maybe 2 wins this year at least.
Super fast. He just needs to learn what to do up at the front.
Well, now that he's up at the front.
Right. No.
He hasn't ever really been
This is new for him. Once that comes and he has more and more experience up at the front.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, man.
So he got wrapped up in that wreck at the end with Logano and all them, unfortunately. So we didn't get to see where he would have placed at the end, but he would have been up there. So that's all I got for the Daytona 500. Congratulations to McDowell. Hamlin, it's bittersweet. I understand, you got fifth, you got some points. I just hope that you're there for the championship. I'm sick of seeing you get all the way. If
you talk more about Hamlin than you do Ricardo. It's insane.
I don't care because I want to see the man win a championship.
That's my dude.
Eventually, Hamlin might stumble across our podcast. I mean, he might hear this part.
If Ricardo is your dude, then what's Hamlin? Your guy?
My buddy.
Your buddy?
Yeah, because he's probably a southern dude, and I think they say buddy up there a lot.
Okay.
Ricardo's definitely my dude. Hamlin's my buddy. I just want to see him win a championship. I mean, he's always so fucking close. Could you imagine?
He totally deserves it.
You're always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I'd be pissed off. I mean, I catch the bouquet enough. You want to, put the ring on the finger. Listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So we really thank you guys for joining us on this Daytona craziness. What a way for NASCAR to start off the season. Really excited. I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but I'm really excited for the NASCAR season.
It's been a long time since I've been excited for NASCAR, and I am.
It's about since Jeff Gordon retired, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
We thank you guys for joining us. 5 stars, like, subscribe, beardedgaragistas.com. Go check it out, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.